Grand jury has voted to indict former President Trump, investigating his role in a hush money payment to an adult film star during his 2016 campaign, a claim Mr. Trump denies. A lawyer for Mr. Trump says the former president has been notified of the indictment. The action is unprecedented. It is the first time a former or sitting American president has been indicted. NBC's Garrett Haake leads our coverage tonight. Garrett, what more do we know?
Well, Lester, this historic vote came 2 months to the day since this grand jury was impaneled. The case is all about an alleged hush money payment that former Trump fixer Michael Cohen says he made on Mr. Trump's behalf to an adult film actress to silence her claims of an affair that Mr. Trump has denied. Now, the payment itself is not illegal, and we don't know specifically what charges Mr. Trump now faces. It could be a misdemeanor relating to falsifying business records, or Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg could also have charged a low-level felony, which would be more of a legal gamble.
And Garrett, this is a moment the president has been anticipating for weeks. He was making this public at a time a lot of people weren't talking about it.
That's right, Lester. He even predicted his own arrest about a week and a half ago. And tonight he's calling the indictment, quote, political persecution and election interference at the highest level in history, calling the Democratic DA a disgrace for bringing this case at all. Now attention will turn to how he handles a potential surrender, a mugshot, and appearance before a judge in New York City, which will now be a major political event in addition to part of a criminal case.
All right,
Lester?
Garrett Haake, thank you. And joining me now, NBC senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett. Laura, let's start with you in this case against the former president. It is not a sure thing in terms of what we know so far about the indictment.
Lester, it is a historic move for sure, but it is far from an open and shut case. Based on what we know at this moment, the charges we believe prosecutors have zeroed in on, a potential charge of falsifying business records, requires an intent to defraud. And Mr. Trump's attorneys will say this hush money payment was all Michael Cohen, his former lawyer's idea, and that Cohen's credibility here will be absolutely key, as he's obviously a target for Mr. Trump's lawyers, given his previous convictions on this very issue. Now, both Alvin Bragg's predecessor in the DA's office, Cy Vance, and federal prosecutors passed on charging Trump in this very hush money case. Of course, we haven't seen the exact charges. We haven't seen any indictment in this case, Lester, so that remains to be seen.
Yeah, some of these themes have been previewed up to even before this point. The investigations of Mr. Trump don't end after today's indictment. The former president is facing other legal challenges related to the 2020 election and classified documents found at his Florida home. Let's get more on that now from Kristen Welker.
Tonight's news of an indictment against former President Trump is just the first of several looming legal battles facing the former president. Investigations Mr. Trump has blasted as partisan pursuits.
They're not coming after me, they're coming after you. I'm just standing in their way.
In Georgia, a Fulton County grand jury has recommended indictments for multiple unnamed people after an 8-month probe into potential interference in Georgia's 2020 election, where Mr. Trump narrowly lost. One element of the investigation, this phone call between Mr. Trump and Georgia's Secretary of State.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
Any charges against Mr. Trump would be up to the DA, but the jury forewoman saying this.
There are certainly names that you would recognize, yes.
Mr. Trump has blasted the investigation run by a Democratic prosecutor as a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time. Also swirling, the special counsel investigation into the former president's handling of classified documents. Last summer, the FBI seized thousands of documents from Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, including more than 100 marked classified, after he refused requests to turn them over for months. The special counsel is also investigating Mr. Trump's actions surrounding January 6th. Mr. Trump has dismissed the special counsel investigation as a horrendous abuse of power, but it could present greater legal danger than the case in New York.
The crime that he allegedly committed is a bookkeeping crime, essentially. Compared to the other investigations, which include efforts to overthrow or overturn the 2020 election, the New York case seems to be the least serious of them all.